What's going on, guys? Aaron from Top Tier Gaming here, and today I'm bringing you my Amazement Traptrix list. This is a long-awaited list. I've had a couple people DM me on Discord like, yo, can we see the Amazement Traptrix list? And here it is. It's finally here. Been testing with it, seeing what ratios like the most, and I think it's just a really awesome build. Like, what Amazement does for Traptrix is so good and brings so many different, like, forms of play to the deck. It can be more aggressive now, and honestly, I've been loving the Amazement package. So yeah, I'm going to run through my main deck, I'm going to run through my extra deck, my side deck, and then I'll do some combos and hand tests at the end of the video to kind of show you what the deck can do. But yeah, Traptrix, one of my favorite decks of all time, and if you also love Traptrix, feel free to give this video a like and maybe subscribe. So without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. Alright, starting off, we have the 3 Myrmeleo, very standard. She is the best one to normal summon, the one you want to open with the most, and she has honestly like one of the best special summon effects, being able to pop back row. She's just your main Traptrix monster. And then we follow her up with 3 Traptrix Mantis. She's sort of the Stratos. If you're unaware about her effect, she on summon can add a Traptrix monster from deck to hand, which can include herself, which is pretty nifty, and she can save back row with her second effect, but usually you're going to use it to proc Sarah. And that's pretty much what her second effect's used for. There are some cool things you can do with it, but that's about the extent. And then we have 2 Traptrix Dionaya, which is kind of like your Debris Dragon or your Wolf Bark, whatever you want to call her. She's honestly probably the best Traptrix outside of Myrmeleo, in the sense that she's your power play for follow-up, and her special summon effect is also very good off of Sarah, allowing you to recycle trap holes. And the only reason we're not playing 3 Dionaya like we would in the past is because of Vesiculo's release and Lightning Overdrive. And yeah, Vesiculo is also a super good card because she acts like an extender. It makes Mantis a lot better because it means Mantis can be a rank 4 essentially, which is really good. And Vesiculo's effect in Grave isn't bad either. It means if you're playing in a more simplified game state where there's been a grind, you can banish her from your graveyard to like reset trap holes, which not only sets the trap hole but also procs Sarah. The only unfortunate thing about Vesiculo is you can't use both effects in one turn. That still bugs me a lot every time I read her. But yeah, we're running 9 Traptrix monsters, which is pretty standard. You can play 10 and run Atrax, especially if you're going to go for a more like torrential-esque build. We are running torrential on this list, which I guess is a spoiler, but yeah, we're not playing Needle Sealing. But if you want to go that route, then Atrax is super good because she can break boards kind of on her own. And then we're going to have 3 Parallel Exceed and 3 Shade Brigandine. So these are honestly like the most important cards in your deck because they're extenders with your Traptrix monsters. So like, besides opening a Traptrix monster, which is something you really want to do, these are going to be the best cards to open with them. And these are where a lot of your like combos come in, is seeing this plus a Traptrix monster, because your boards can come out crazy. I've ended with like more interruptions than maybe Dragon Link can, like 6 or 7 interruptions turn 1. And it's usually when you see like both of these in the same hand with a Myrmeleo, things get absolutely bonkers and the deck can really explode. And what's really powerful about the deck when it does explode is the fact that it has so many points of interruption in different places. Like, it's not like it's just setting 5 and hoping to do that. You'll have like set 2 or 3 plus like 3 monsters that are providing some form of interruption on your opponent's turn. And it's really hard for your opponents to deal with that when you have so many different points of interruption, which is something Traptrix are really strong at. And I want to go over more of Traptrix strength as I go through this deck profile, because it can do things that other decks in its like category simply can't. And it's one of my favorite things about Traptrix, is its like playstyle and how it just absolutely pops off for what's considered to be a trap deck. Alright, so next up we have our Amazement package, which right now is 2 Arlekino, 1 Time Ticket, 2 Horror House, and 1 Cyclocoaster. So this ratio, the idea initially was like, I want to run a smaller-esque Amazement package, but the more I play with it, the more I kind of want to bump the package up. So I think like maybe taking out a Time Ticket for a 3rd Arlekino would be better, because the idea was that Time Ticket can be like more flexible than the 3rd Arlekino spot, but you kind of want to open him, and I'll get into that more later. And then I definitely think playing a 3rd Horror House is mandatory. But let's talk about this engine and what it does for the deck. This engine helped trap decks so much. It was like such a huge boost because Arlekino provides so many things. Like, if you imagine Faker and Altergeist and what it does for them, Arlekino provides such a huge damage component for this deck, like being able to drop a 26 body that can be like a Dark Arm Dragon on your opponent's turn, or on your turn, excuse me, while being a Faker on your opponent's turn. And being able to just like book your opponent's stuff with Horror House is so powerful. And yeah, Arlekino has truly been a star every time I'm testing this deck. He's like such a powerhouse, more so than I ever thought he would be. And yeah, that's why I do think I need to bump him up to 3, because also if you see him with Infinite Impermanence, you know, it's the Forsaken combo that Altergeist do, Imperm Faker. Yeah, legends are still being foretold about how powerful that combo is. But yeah, this is your Amazement package, and honestly, it's just so good for the deck because it allows you to push for damage quicker and just provides a whole new, like, another form of interrupt by being able to activate Horror House from your deck. And then next up, so the next couple cards, we're going to have some hand traps. It's going to be 3 Dimension Shifter. Now this is an all-in sort of hand trap. This is probably one of the most powerful hand traps in the entire game. However, it's one that you kind of have to open with and that you don't want to draw later. So it's a high risk, high reward card because it can be sort of bricky. However, if you're going to play hand traps and trap tricks in the current meta, in my opinion, they need to be high impact. Like, Ash Blossom by herself isn't going to do enough, and all you're going to lose is like a really powerful spot that may be able to do something against the opponent, and when Ash like couldn't. So there is no Ash Blossom in this list, even though she's been in every single Trap Tricks list I've made previous. I just want to play the most high impact stuff and keep it as close to 40 as possible. And Dimension Shifter, it's as high impact as it gets. You open this and sometimes you're just going to win the game because of this card, and it's just that powerful. So yeah, and then Trap Tricks have the ability to play with like 1 or 2 cards in their better hand, so even if you draw him dead, sometimes it doesn't matter. You can still have like the stones and just win. So we are choosing to play 3D Shifter, but if you want to play more flexible, kind of less all-in hand traps, then Ash Blossom is a fine replacement. And then sort of the mandatory 3 Infinite Impermanence. This card, honestly, it's like always been tough in Trap Tricks because it makes so much sense, right? Like, you want to play Impermanent Trap Tricks. However, because of Shade Brigandine, this card's always been sort of like, do we play Impermanence or not? And like, it was always tough, but I think a couple things have made Imperm really good in this list, and that's 1, Arlekino. Like, opening Imperm Arlekino is absolutely bonkers, and it's something you're striving for, which is why I want to play a 3rd Arlekino. But also, D-Shifter actually kind of helps Imperms, because if you like D-Shifter and then Imperm, your Imperm's going to get banished, and then you're able to activate Brigandine on your following turn, which is very nice. And that is some synergy, some surprise synergy I didn't have when I was like theorying the deck, but just through play I was like, yeah, that's pretty good that we can Imperm on our opponent's turn and be able to use Brigandine, so that's very nice. On to spells, very short and sweet. We have 3 Prosperity. Yeah, this card isn't budget friendly, but unfortunately it's almost mandatory in this deck to play it on a competitive level because you have to see a Trap Tricks monster. Like, there's no way around it. You must see a Trap Tricks monster in your hand to play the game. Like, of course you can open the hand with no Trap Tricks and like Arlekino maybe can get you there, or you just have a bunch of interrupts and it's fine. But like, this deck with a Trap Tricks monster is so different from when it doesn't have a Trap Tricks monster. It's like playing 2 different decks. And yeah, Prosperity just helps you get there, as well as finding like more power cards and just making sure you have what you need. And then lastly, for spells, I'm playing 2 Triple Tactics Talent. This card's like just an out to Dragoon almost. Like, I feel like we needed more go second cards because, you know, we're playing Trap Tricks. It can be tough sometimes going second. And Dragoon is such a huge, monumental, gigantic problem for this deck. So Tactics kind of alleviates that, and that's really important, is having an Ultra Dragoon, and Tactics is sort of like my choice. I feel like Droplets is really hard to play in this deck, and I don't really want to main deck Kaijus because Tactics is more versatile and can do more things. You'll notice no Double or Nothing. I'll explain more of that when I get to the extra deck because I've played it in every Trap Tricks list to date, but with Arlekino, I felt like I need it more and more, or I feel like I need it less and less because Arlekino is kind of doing the job of pushing the damage. But yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts on Double or Nothing. For traps, we have 3 Solemn Strike and 3 Torrential Tribute. I always put these out as a package, or at least I often do, because these cards together are insane, but these are like really high impact traps. Torrential barely hurts this deck because you can have things like Trap Tricks Sarah and Trap Tricks Rafflesia on the field, and then Torrential doesn't even affect your board, which is amazing. Strike Torrential is amazing going first or second, just clears entire boards by itself, and Strike, of course, is one of the most powerful traps in Yu-Gi-Oh! So we're definitely maximizing on all of these. Especially right now, with the meta the way it is, like Torrential stomps Prank Kids, Virtual World. It can be good versus Drytron, really good versus Tri Brigade. Like, Torrential is almost mandatory. And then for trap holes, sort of like the main traps of the deck, 1 Floodgate, 1 Time Space, and 2 Gravediggers. So the reason we're playing this ratio, honestly, Gravedigger's been the best trap hole for quite some time now. Super powerful, definitely one you want to see. It stops hand traps. It burns your opponent for 2k on activation, which is insane because this deck always had a problem with damage, and of course getting that extra 2k can put your opponent in range of lethal much quicker, and like Gravedigger plus Arlekino is a lot of damage, right? The reason we're choosing to play the time space, because for a while I was actually running 3 trap holes with no time space, but if you go first, this is honestly the best out to Dragoon, is very easily get your Floodgate and time space, and then when Dragoon gets summoned, you Floodgate him, and when he attempts to negate the Floodgate, you just time space him back to the extra deck. Easy out to Dragoon, you know, 2 for 2, and that is good enough for me, so that is why I'm choosing to run both Floodgate and time space. On to the extra deck. That was the main deck. It is 42 cards, I believe. So extra deck, 2 Traptrix Sarah and 1 Kalaria. There's just no space, in my opinion, for 3 Sarah, although it is something you can do. I have not needed the 3rd Sarah for a very long time. Like, you have to be playing against a very grind-heavy deck, like Earth Machine, to need the 3rd Sarah, or be in, like, a really bad position. Like, in your really bad hands, she does come up. But now we have Kalaria, who can kind of take the slot of the 3rd Sarah. And Kalaria is really good. She doesn't come out often, but when she does, she's pretty high impact. If you have, like, extra resources, you can go into her, and she just, like, speeds up your snowball even faster, which is the name of the game. So yeah. Which, I guess, since we're here and I mentioned snowball, I'll mention, like, what this deck really does, as opposed to other trap decks. This deck doesn't sit behind a bunch of floodgates like other trap decks. It doesn't sit there poke for, like, 1600 like Guru. It doesn't play very slow. Actually, it's a very fast deck. It sets up its first turn board with like 5 to 6 interrupts in one of its better hands, kind of like Dragon Link, or a deck that just puts up a lot of interrupts, right? And then on the next turn, its aim is to kill you, because Sarah allows you to special things from your deck, get more resources. If you search Dianaya, that's another 2 monsters on board. You can go into plays really quickly and kill your opponent very fast when maybe they're not expecting it. And like Gravedigger also sort of helps you reach that goal. But that's one thing I like about Traptrix compared to other sort of trap-esque decks. Then we're playing 1 Pentastag. Yeah, you can... Sometimes you need to deal damage, and being able to pierce is really nice. You can play any generic Link 2 here. Honestly, I was playing Utopia Double, and that's mostly why this is in here, but you can replace that for any Link 2. 1 Link Spider, you have to play this for your Brigandine. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. Sometimes you're open Brigandine parallel, and you have to get somewhere. And then 1 Borosword. This is going to be an easy way to kill opponents, and Borosword reaches his threshold much quicker because of Gravedigger and like Arlekino doing more damage than Traptrix did in the past. And that's it for links. On to Xyz, we have the 1 Rafflesia and the 1 beautiful Starlight Alamaris, if she would show her nice foil. Yes, so we are playing the Alamaris. You can choose not to, but she's actually really good. She pushes for damage because she can like be a 22 beat stick and then special like Mermelio from your grave and attack position, or whichever Traptrix you need. She can like pop cards. She's essentially any special summon Traptrix monster effect. But with cards like Torrential Tribute, you can actually steal your opponent's monsters and stuff, and that's very good. So yeah, I really enjoy Alamaris. And then for generic like rank 4 toolbox, we have Time Thief Redoer, the best one because we're playing Brigandine, such a boss monster. We're playing the 1 Dweller because he wins matchups. We're playing Tornado Dragon. Popping back row is good, and also this is like one of your main outs to like Mystic Mind players, is making this first turn and hoping it sticks. Yeah, those are sort of the utility rank 4s. Then we have our beautiful Starlight Astral Utopia to go with our Utopia the Lightning. So yeah, this package is really good because it outs Dragoon. It turns like Rafflesia into an out to Dragoon, and if your opponent's not aware of that, they're going to lose their Dragoon to Utopia the Lightning. Again, more outs to Dragoon is always the best thing. This hitting 5k means it's also sort of our out to add Ignister, and you probably need one of those. So this package is really nice. Even though we took out Utopia Double, I still want to play those. Then we have 1 Vespinato and 1 Zeus. So these cards are really good in this deck and have been for a while. Vespinato is always nice because of Rafflesia. However, I was always having a struggle fitting it in my extra deck. But now you can go Rafflesia turn 1 and then turn her into like a 25 beat stick the next turn. But what's really cool is if Rafflesia's in your graveyard, like say Rafflesia's in your grave, you summon Dianaya, you can special summon Rafflesia, overlay Vespinato, and that turns Dianaya into a 2 material Zeus, which is quite nice. And gives more use to Dianaya and Vespinato, so yeah, and Zeus of course is great for go second and getting over threats. Now I'm going to show the side deck, which, yeah, it's kind of built for your locals, but this is what I think is best right now and for how my locals is, which is a lot of Virtual World, a lot of Prank Kids, some Drytron, so yeah. 1 Pankratops. I mean, this is pretty standard. He's one of the best side deck cards. Then we were playing the package of 3 Phantasme and 3 Nibiru. Like, we have so many Prank Kids players, and along with, like, we have a Salamangreat player, and this is great versus so many things in the meta, actually, rather than things at my locals. Like, Dragon Link's really good, Prank Kids are really good, Nibiru's great versus Virtual World, not so much Phantasme, Salamangreat's playable, Striker's playable. Like, these cards are really, really good this format, and I just wanted to play both. And not only that, we are Traptrix, so we want more Ghost second cards. And Phantasme does kind of conflict with Infinite Impermanence, but him drawing you into maybe D-Shifter or Nibiru is so important against so many matchups. So we are maximizing that package in the side deck. Then for our last Ghost second cards, we have 3 Evenly. This is my, like, Ghost second break your board card of choice. It's very impactful versus so many decks this format. It's good versus Pranks, it's good versus Tri-Brigade, it's good versus Virtual World, it's good versus so much. Maybe not Drytron because they're just going to negate it, but it is a very high impact card that can break through boards, especially a lot of slower decks that set up boards, and, like, you know, like Eldritch, for example, anything that's set in back row. So yeah, my choice is Evenly as far as, like, a board break card. You can play Lightning Storms or even Dark Hole Raigeki, I think are pretty good right now. For Go First, we have 3 Solemn Judgment, which is actually something I haven't really played in the past. I didn't feel like it was good enough, but I feel like Evenly is picking up more steam as far as a card for breaking boards, and I'm really scared of that card, and Anti-Spell doesn't save me from that. As well as, like, the Twin Twister becoming more meta because of Prank Kids makes me less inclined to play something like Anti-Spell or even a Pointer of the Red Lotus. So we are choosing to play Judgment along with the Imperial Order, and I am still playing 1 Anti-Spell. I had an extra slot, and I just really did not know what to put in. This is a flex spot of your choice. Add a card you think is really good. If you want to play Red Reboot or Feather Duster or something like that. I don't recommend Reboot because I feel like oftentimes you're not going to kill your opponent, and sometimes you're not going to make Zeus either, but it is definitely an option. So yeah, that was the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed, hope you stuck around for it, learned some stuff about Traptrix and why I'm playing what I'm playing. But now I'm going to get into a sort of test hand combo so you can see what this deck can really do. Hopefully we draw good. Let's get into it. Alright, so we've power shuffled. We're going to give this deck a quick shuffle here, and we're going to see what this deck can really do. Hopefully drawing a hand that is, you know, nice to see and not one of those draw 5 traps and bricks. That doesn't happen very often because we're actually not playing that many traps. Like, I think it's upwards of like 13, somewhere around there. I guess more with the Amazement package. So we're playing a few traps, but hopefully we see, first of all, a Traptrix monster, and then some extenders. That'd be nice. So we got a hand of 5 here. We can go and draw Torrential Tribute, Dianaya, that works for me, Mantis, Strike, and Infinite Impermanence. So this hand's not bad for sure. It's Sarah set 3. You're gonna normal summon Mantis, make Sarah, or you're gonna search Dianaya or Vesicula or Myrmelia, whichever one you want, and you're gonna set 3 cards. And we have Torrential Strike and Infinite Impermanence. It's not bad, but not the hand we want to see. So I'm gonna go ahead, shuffle up, and grab another one. That hand was definitely good. Don't get me wrong. Torrential Strike Imperm is very, very powerful interrupts, and then we have a lot of follow-up in Dianaya, the monster we search off Mantis, Sarah setting multiple trap holes. Like, that hand was definitely fine, but that's not really a combo hand that I want to see. Give it a quick cut. Alright, and here we go. We're going to draw Myrmelio, Brigandine, Triple Tactics Talent. Yeah, this is definitely more, wow, okay, Imperm and Parallel Exceed. So I'm glad you got to see an amazing hand for the first round, but you're about to see some really good stuff for this second one, because this is more like combo. So of course, go second. It's a little weird because we have Imperm Brigandine, but we also have Imperm Tactics, which is pretty good, and this is about to be gas. So starting our turn off, we're going to normal summon Traptrix Myrmelio. I'm going to activate her effect. Now normally I like to go grab Floodgate first, even though I think Gravedigger is the better card, and that's because we have the option to kind of go like parallel here. Or not parallel, we have the option to make Dweller in our turn, and maybe if I'm making Dweller, I don't really need to grab Gravedigger, but Sarah's going to grab Gravedigger anyway. So we're going to turn our Myrmelio into our favorite gal here, Traptrix Sarah. I'm going to put her over here. And Sarah, on her summon, we're going to activate Parallel Exceed. Now, at any point during this turn, if they interrupt us, we have a triple tactics talent to either draw two or look at their hand, both of which are very good options in this case. I usually like to look at their hand in this deck, so I know what I need to use my back row to play around, but yeah. And then Parallel on summon is going to go and grab another Parallel. And then with these Parallel Exceeds, we're going to overlay, and we're going to make Traptrix for Flasia. Now this is more of a game 1 thing, because game 1 they might be maining Nibiru. If it's like game 2 or 3 and you're like pretty sure they sided Nibiru out, you can actually go for Dweller here or Tornado Dragon or whatever you think's best in the matchup. But Rafflesia is built in on summon 5 Nibiru protection, so that's really, really good because you can send Gravedigger to negate that, and I'm actually going to place this Rafflesia not under that zone. And Rafflesia is just an amazing card with Sarah as well. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to set your Brigandine, and because you have no traps in your grave, we're going to activate Shade Brigandine. And then Sarah's actually going to proc, and we are going to grab... I usually go... If I already have Mermelio, I usually grab Mantis. And then I will set a trap, and then activate Mantis's effect to bounce it back to my hand. And then Traptrix Sarah is going to activate because of Mantis. And I'm going to have to find a new spot for my hand because... yeah, it's looking a little rough as far as space. So we're going to add Gravedigger to our hand. Or, I mean, we're going to set Gravedigger with Traptrix Sarah, which is pretty nice. And then we're going to overlay our Mantis and our Brigandine. And we're going to get probably the best monster in the deck, which is going to be Time Thief Redoer. You can actually put this in attack to sort of bait Lightning Storm to call monsters. Because you're not really worried about them lightning storming your monsters in this case, it's about the back row, so maybe an attack is actually better. And then we're going to set Floodgate, Trap Hole, and Infinite Impermanence. And this board is honestly so good, like it's going to be so hard for any deck to play through this. What we technically end on is, we don't know what Redoer is going to take off the top of their deck, but because there's a Brigandine under him, we know he's a non-target bounce, which is such an amazing form of interruption. We have a Traptrix Rafflesia, which can be either a Gravedigger's Trap Hole or a Time Space Trap Hole, while also protecting your Sarah, which is amazing. And then we have a known Gravedigger's Trap Hole, which can negate Drytron effects in hand, virtual effects in hand, like Eldritch effects, anything. Floodgate Trap Hole for their normal summon. Like if you're playing against Salad, this probably ends their turn. And we also have Infinite Impermanence. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interrupts turn 1. With inbuilt protection, and this can protect itself as well. As well as, and then a lot of follow-up in the form of Traptrix Sarah, which is going to special summon a Traptrix monster from your deck. Redoer that's going to keep coming back. This can become Zeus or Vespinato. So yeah, and we have a triple tactics talent that could have been anything. Like if it was draw 2, let's just draw 2 fake cards. Arlekino in this hand would have been absolutely insane. So yeah, that is a Traptrix test hand. This deck honestly can go so bonkers. People just like sort of assume it's a trap deck and plays like a trap deck, but it plays like, some hands play more like a combo deck, but it does draw like that first hand where you draw 3 traps in Sarah as well. Like it actually can do so many different play styles and just kind of do really well with both of them. And that's one of my favorite things about Traptrix. It's not just like a sit there and sort of helmet and sit behind floodgates and just try to play the game like that. No, you're trying to build resources and snowball turn 1 so you can follow up with a kill shot turn 2. But yeah, that was the Traptrix test hand. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is one of my favorite decks, so I hope that kind of like came off of the deck profile how much I enjoy this deck. And I hope if you didn't enjoy it before, you enjoy it now. If you want to test it out, that'd be cool. If you have any thoughts about the deck, leave it down in the comments below. I'll be sure to get back to you. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe, check the Discord and Twitter down below. This has been Aaron from Top Tier Gaming. Bye, YouTube.